Hello, my name is Chris Boyd, and I'm the director at the Y at Work Waterston Towers. I am also a registered and licensed dietitian for almost 20 years in both acute and long term healthcare. Uh, I've been asked to talk on a topic that I get asked a lot about, and probably the biggest topic right now that comes to mind is individuals asking me about intermittent fasting, whether I recommend it, and also the pros and cons to intermittent fasting. So, I really want to talk about the three different types of intermittent fasting that we primarily see. The first one is alternate day, and that's where on one day you'll have your regular type of meal pattern, and then on the next day you actually will not have any type of food except for water, regular coffee black, and or tea with no sugar or sugar substitutes, and then keep repeating that pattern. That's probably the least popular right now of the three type of fasting diets that we see out there. The second one is modified fasting, and that's where for 5 days straight you have a typical meal pattern. Then for 2 days you have caloric restriction, but it's not a true fasting. It's reduction of your overall calorie intake by typically 20 to 25% during those 2 days. That is probably middle of the road as far as individuals that are really trying to see if fasting is something for them. But the most popular by far is time restricted fasting. And that's where for 7 days, you actually limit your caloric intake to a specific time frame, typically 8 to 12 hours. So during that 8 to 12 hours, you eat either a caloric restricted diet and or just your normal type of eating pattern, but then obviously outside of that time frame you take in no calories whatsoever. That is by far the most popular. Typically, what we see in today society is that individuals will start off actually trying the time restricted fasting, but only for a certain amount of days and or every other day, just to see if that is something that they really want to go into. The problem is we need to talk about the pros and the cons of these type of diets. You know, the pros are obviously typically when somebody goes on an intermittent fasting type of diet is because they want to lose weight, and obviously there has been some studies that have shown that is the case or potentially a case when going on that type of fasting diet. Also, because typically you are limiting your caloric intake, like I said, in the time restricted fasting, you also have a tendency to see better blood sugar control. You also typically see improved dietary intake because even though during that time frame you technically can consume anything that you want, because you're already going into that type of mindset that you are attempting to quote unquote use this for a weight loss type of strategy, a lot of individuals will also limit their overall calorie intake during that time too. Also, because typically people are limiting their caloric intake during that time frame too, you also see better cholesterol, as well as in that because your eating pattern typically gets better, you also typically see better blood pressure as well. However, the cons are numerous. Obviously, when you first start off in this type of diet, any of these three type of diets, definitely consult your primary care provider prior to starting any of these, because the pros are, especially at first, because you are limiting your caloric intake in some form or fashion, you definitely see lethargy or fatigue, weakness, dizziness, headaches, obviously low blood sugar because again you're not taking in calories on a consistent basis, and you can also see muscle aches. And so those are things that obviously you must weigh when you start one of these type of eating patterns. If you have additional questions about this or anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, my name is Chris Boyd. My email address is cboyd at ymcalouisville.org. Phone number is 502-272-5920. Also, please don't hesitate to reach out to Eric Mann, director at GEA, while at work. His email address is eman, so it's EMANN ymcalouisville.org, or you can reach him at 502 452 7970. Thank you.